Tai Lung did everything the right way. He trained harder than anyone. He sacrificed more than anyone. He became exactly what his master asked him to become. And when the moment finally arrived, when the future he had been promised since childhood stood right in front of him, they did not even clearly say no. They hesitated. They looked at him with doubt. And in that hesitation, something inside him shattered. For 20 years, he sat in a prison cell built only for him. Chains, guards, isolation. A cage designed to hold the very warrior his master had created. In the story, we are told he is the villain. But if you look closer, his life reveals something deeper about wasted potential, identity, and the dangerous power of expectations. To understand it, we have to go back to the beginning. Tai Lung did not start as a villain. He started as a cub left alone at the gates of the Jade Palace. No name, no family, no explanation. Just a snow leopard child waiting for someone to decide whether he mattered. Master Shifu took him in, not only as a student but almost as a son. He raised him inside the palace. He trained him every day, and slowly he began telling Tai Lung something that would shape his entire life. He told him he was destined for greatness. To a child, those words are powerful. Tai Lung believed them completely. Every form he practiced, every painful lesson, every sleepless night was driven by one goal, becoming the Dragon Warrior. He never questioned it. Why would he? When the person who saved you tells you who you are supposed to be, you believe them. And the cruel truth is that Tai Lung was incredibly good at it. He mastered every technique. He defeated every challenge placed in front of him. In the eyes of the Jade Palace, he was the greatest student they had ever seen. To Shifu, he was proof that his teaching meant something. But someone else was watching. Master Oogway saw something different. The story tells us he saw darkness in Tai Lung's heart. The film expects us to accept that wisdom immediately. Wise Turtle sees the truth. Proud student becomes the villain, but look carefully at what happened next. Shifu did not question the warning deeply enough. He continued to train Tai Lung. He continued to reinforce the idea that the Dragon's Scroll would one day belong to him. Then the moment finally arrived. Tai Lung stood before the scroll, the reward he had spent his entire childhood chasing. This was supposed to be the beginning of his real life, the moment everything made sense. But Oogway refused him, and Shifu, the man who raised him, the man who filled his head with those dreams, stood there in silence. That moment matters more than the fight that came later. Because what we see on Tai Lung's face first is not rage, it is confusion. A son realizing the person he trusted most is not going to defend him. Something broke. After that, the destruction came quickly. Tai Lung attacked the valley. He demanded the destiny he believed was stolen from him, and eventually he was defeated and locked away. The easy explanation is that he could not handle rejection. But that explanation is comfortable because it ignores everything that came before it. Tai Lung did not simply believe in himself. He believed in Shifu's belief in him. Every punch, every drop of sweat was about staying worthy in the eyes of the man who saved him. That is the trap of being chosen early in life. When someone tells you that you are special, that you are meant for something extraordinary, you spend the rest of your life trying to prove them right. The scroll was never just a prize to Tai Lung. It was proof that the love, the training, the sacrifices had meaning. Without it, everything felt pointless. Now look at Shifu's role in the story. The film presents him as a tragic master haunted by his greatest mistake, and that is partly true, but it is also important to recognize that he built the expectations that destroyed Tai Lung. Every promise he made added another layer to the identity Tai Lung was forming, and when the promise collapsed, Tai Lung had nothing left underneath it, no separate identity. No life beyond the role he had trained for. That is why the prison cell is symbolic. It represents the cage of expectations he had lived in long before the chains appeared. 20 years later, he finally escapes, and when he does, he is not chasing revenge alone. He is chasing the same thing he has always wanted: validation. After fighting his way back through the valley and defeating the Furious Five, he finally reaches the Dragon's Scroll, the object that defined his entire life. He opens it, and inside there is nothing. No secret technique, no ancient power, only his own reflection staring back at him. For Po, this moment becomes freedom. Po never built his identity around earning the scroll. When he realizes there is no secret ingredient, he understands that believing in himself is enough. But for Tai Lung, the same revelation is devastating. It means the thing he destroyed his life chasing never existed. It means all the suffering, all the sacrifice, all the years of training were built on an illusion. That is why his reaction is not acceptance. It is rage, because accepting the truth would mean admitting that he spent his entire life running toward a finish line that was never real. And that realization is terrifying. Many people understand this feeling more than they realize. Some grow up being told they are gifted, that they are destined for something extraordinary. They chase grades, titles, careers, achievements because they believe those things will finally confirm their worth. But sometimes the promise never arrives. Sometimes the recognition never comes. And when that happens, it can feel like the entire structure of your life collapses at once. The lesson of Tai Lung's story is not simply about failure or arrogance. It is about identity. When your entire sense of value depends on one goal, losing that goal can feel like losing yourself. That is the real tragedy. Tai Lung was never taught who he was without the Dragon Warrior title. So when that title disappeared, he had nothing to stand on, and that is why the empty scroll is such a powerful symbol. At first it looks like nothing. But in reality, it represents something far more important. Freedom. Freedom to define yourself instead of chasing a role someone else wrote for you. Po understood that. Tai Lung could not. And that difference changed everything. If you watch the final battle carefully, you can see the moment where the truth almost reaches him. When Po explains that the scroll is empty because there is no secret ingredient, Tai Lung pauses. For a second, the anger fades and confusion returns. That pause is important because it shows that a different ending was possible, but accepting that truth would require letting go of everything he believed about himself. It would mean admitting that the years of pain did not guarantee the reward he expected, and most people struggle with that idea. Hard work builds skill, discipline builds strength. But neither guarantees the exact reward we imagine. Tai Lung believed the scroll would justify his entire life. When it did not, he had nothing left to hold onto except anger. And anger is powerful because it hides grief. Meanwhile, Po represents a different path. He never built his identity around a promise. When he sees the blank scroll, he does not see emptiness. He sees possibility. That contrast is the hidden message of the story. Potential is not only talent or discipline, it is also flexibility. The ability to redefine yourself when the path you expected disappears. Tai Lung had the talent, Po had the freedom, and that difference decided everything. So the real question the story leaves behind is simple. Are you chasing a scroll someone else promised you, or are you building a life that still matters even if that scroll turns out to be blank? The lesson is quiet but powerful. Your value does not appear at the finish line. It appears the moment you decide who you are without waiting for permission. You can start now today.